So since we began just comparing some simple proportions from the back of the heel along the sole, I also want to look at some of the less obvious proportions perhaps. I want to look at top of the knot to the base of the lace, and I want to compare that to the height here, and we'll see that at the top of the ankle this proportion goes down to the blade. Now I care about this because it will help us plot our image on our page. So if we leave just a little bit of breathing room for this dowel, we have a little space on top. You know, the other thing I could do is just kind of compare where that knot is in our horizontal layout. And so what I'll do is I'll take the proportion of the center of the knot, I'll bring it over here, and so then obviously the center of our page is between those. And so likewise, if I kind of mark out, if this is what I'm calling center of my page, I know just a little bit to the left here is going to be the actual lace. So I can drop a vertical line down. We can go back in with details after we get our proportions lined up. What I kind of liked about the back of the heel proportion is it's a little more consistent with the object itself. So I'm going to kind of use this as my standard, and I'll take this down to see that just where that lines up on the lace. So then I just have a little bit extra breathing room. So I'll say if I want my the skate to be about this large, I will just gonna mark it down for myself. I'll say I want that skate to be about this big on the paper. So I'll take from that top of the knot, we'll go down here. I've got a little extra breathing room for where that base of the lace is, and now I've got my kind of standard measurement here. It does help to kind of translate this across the side horizontally to see how the angle lines up, and you'll find, you know, there's not much of that ankle above that horizontal measuring line. The next thing I would want to do is, since I've got this base, I just want to see how this compares, and that's about 3/4. So if I say I take 3/4 of that horizontally, that's going to be that back edge, and I want to also maybe compare it down to this line. Where's that? So that's about halfway. So if I take my halfway point with this guy, that's there. So from our base, which we determined was here, base of the lace, I can draw a vertical. Here's my halfway. Next, what I want to do is just steal that angle of our skate on this sole, and I know right here is the curved back of the heel, but like I did on my reference, I drew a straight line, so I'll have to go a little bit farther past that, and I'll just say this is a square angle. I've already got my measurement, and so if this is my corner that I kind of labeled in, I can just say here's the top, here's the absolute bottom, this is my proportion that I've been working with. So from that I will draw in my S-curve. And like I said, we can always go make adjustments with tracing paper, layout bond, but from here it's pretty simple. I can lay out, I know my basic proportions. There's a little overlap of the skate where the lace connects. I can bring that ankle up, and the other thing that I noticed was that back height indicates that first rung on the bottom here, so I can label that, and I know that the toe is just under 1.5 of the heel width, so I can just kind of extend that line, and I want to be certain that that is in fact half. So I will go check my measurements. It's about right. And I just want to check it on my page again. So if I'm saying this guy, yep, I'm still just below that halfway line, or that the tip of the toe. And so if this is my halfway line, I'm going to say, here's my toe. We want to kind of get some of the subtle nuances. You want to notice that it's not a perfectly flat line on the bottom. It does taper up after you hit that rung. There's a slight angle on the toe here. So blocking it in, I want to add a little more mass. I can always check this proportion. And I'm also looking at, negative space. I'm looking at general curves. And so that would be the basic kind of shape of the foot. I'll carve out this, the heel a little bit. And what I did find was the halfway point between that first rung and the heel is right here. So if I likewise mark that out on my page, there's that halfway point. So that means the heel is a little bit left. We can get that nice angle to it. And like I said, we can go back in with line weight and the subtle nuances after we kind of get everything established. I'll just add a little bit now so it's a little more presentable. So now I'll have a look at the blade. Obviously right in the middle of the heel, we've already marked out the one on the right, and then we've got the one on the toe, the connection point. And obviously this extends out a little bit farther. I did check the proportion from the absolute lowest and highest part of the lace to find that from the top of the ankle down to the blade is the same proportion. I'll do that here too. I do recommend using a piece of scrap paper. It's just a little more accurate. It makes a difference and it goes quick. So from that top of the heel down to there, so that's my blade. And I can indicate this kind of back curve. Now keep in mind, there's a slight bend to this blade that's, obviously functional to cut through the ice. So it's not just a straight thing. I'll go back and do the details. I just want to get the angle in, drawing these cutouts. Add just a little bit of the curve. And I'll go back and readjust. So I've kind of got it simplified a little bit. From here I can check the proportion from the base of the shadow up to the heel. Let's compare that to our main one. It's just slightly more than half. So if we said we want to just you said slightly more than half, right? Slightly more than half. So that'd be about there. Take it to the heel. So the shadow is going to end about there, and we want to kind of follow that curve. And I will stop the video here to do details in the next one. First, I'll just kind of indicate the cast shadow. I know that I'll have to make some corrections. And just try to keep that angle consistent.